Kind of balance out the room. So Karen says she goes over here. What's going on? She said, I'm trying to balance the room.
It's kind of like a wedding.
Yeah.
My side was very even.
Groom side, right.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just a reminder, please turn off cell phones and turn on your microphones. Andrea, we have roll call, please.
Mayor Bain.
Here.
Counselor Anderson. Here. Counselor Baker. Here. Counselor Quinlan. Here. Counselor Scalisi.
Yes.
Counselor Sherman. Here.
You've all had a chance to review the minutes from the regular meeting of August 27, 2018. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve as submitted?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. We don't have anybody scheduled for visitors and delegations. Do we have any citizen comment tonight? Melody or Joanne, both of you?
Yeah, three of us. Three of us.
Oh, three of you, okay.
We're together.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Joanne Gosling, 300 Clifton Street, Brush, Colorado.
Mary Landstrom, 5 Noah Court.
Melody Christensen, 12280 County Road 36, Brush.
Thank you.
We are here tonight. This week is the Colorado Cities and Towns Week, and I was contacted today by CML. Back in February, there was the three of us on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and citizens wanted to nominate a Municipal Hero Award for Brush to Dana Sherman. So we did the nomination. Unfortunately, she did not get it, but they contacted me and they have a poster that they put up, they wanted us to put up in City Hall that shows her name and says she was an award nominee, and they wanted us to put that up. And we are here to present that to her this evening as well, and then we thought we'd share with you the letter that we had wrote nominating her.
Don't cry, I'm not looking. Dana Sherman is one of the best examples of an individual who's gone above and beyond to make her community a great place to live. For many years, her grandfather owned a prominent jewelry store in Brush, and Dana has chose to live in Brush as well. Dana served on the Chamber of Commerce for 3 years. During that time, she served as secretary, president, past president, and served on the Chamber Foundation Executive Board. While serving her 3-year term, she served on numerous committees. During her 2nd year with the Chamber, she assisted in getting the annual People's Market up and running. The event runs for 10 weeks, and she is there to assist 90% of the time. In her 3-year term, our 100-year-old theater was donated to the community. The Chamber and a group of citizens were determined to keep the theater running. Dana was one of these citizens. She took on the role of volunteer coordinator for the Sands Theater. Every week, she makes sure there are volunteers lined up to run the theater Friday through Sunday. If there are no volunteers available, it is her responsibility to cover any volunteer shortage. One of Dana's goals while serving on the Chamber Board was to institute a Junior Main Street program. She accomplished this her 3rd year on the Chamber Board. Dana has served her term on the Chamber Board, but in her desire to serve her community last year, she ran for Ward 1 Councilor and is now serving a 4-year term on City Council for the City of Brush. Even though Dana is no longer on the Chamber Board, she continues to be the Sands Volunteer Coordinator and continues to serve as the leader of the Junior Main Street program. If these aren't enough examples of involvement and pride in her community, during the Chamber's Christmas campaign, Dana served as Captain Christmas, going to various businesses in the community and surprising customers with gifts or chamber bucks. When talking to other citizens in the community, they describe Dana as having a bubbly personality, always willing to help out, and doesn't know how to say no. She is someone who always has a smile on her face with a very positive and courteous attitude. There is no "can't get her done" in Dana's vocabulary. It is with great honor we nominate Dana Sherman as a 2018 Municipal Hero. I got choked up at the end.
And so we would like to present you with this poster.
Maybe come over here. Yeah.
Oh, pictures, oh,
Picture.
pictures. Nobody say anything about pictures. Nobody say anything about pictures.
What the hell's going on with that?
Thank you. You're very welcome, very deserving. Sorry, because I stuck on my mouth.
Put me in for a raise.
Yep, you're getting a raise.
Oh, are we doing?
Oh,
Oh,
so we're in the,
for the
okay.
week.
This is good.
Yeah.
No, don't go back over there. It's like, yeah,
Really?
really. Pictures of our.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very, very well deserved. Okay, is that a surprise? Okay, moving on to management. We have resolution number 2018-15. Andrea.
Okay, in your packet was the resolution number 2018-15, accepting submission of petition and certificate of sufficiency for recall of council member Janine Anderson submitted by the city clerk and setting a recall election. And tonight it's for your consideration to approve this, and if approved, this resolution would, the recall petition is certified and submitted by the city clerk on this date and recognized as sufficient and accepted by the city council pursuant to statute. It also calls for an election, which would be held on Tuesday, December 11th, 2018, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. as a polling place election, and this would be held at the J.C. building in Brush. And the deadline for nominations for petitions for candidates who would want to circulate a nominating petition in the event that Councilor Anderson is recalled, those can be picked up tomorrow in my office and circulated and returned to me by 5 p.m. on October 1st. And Councilor Anderson can submit to me by October 1st at 5 p.m. a statement in 300 words or less as to the justification of her position in office. And also, City Council would authorize myself as City Clerk to appoint judges for this special election to be held December 11th, 2018. So with these, if there's not any questions, I ask for your consideration to approve it.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to either approve or deny the resolution?
I move we approve resolution number 2018-15, accepting the submission of petition and certificate of sufficiency for recall of Councilmember Janine Anderson submitted by the city clerk and setting a recall election.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? No discussion. Let's move to a roll call vote.
Councilor Bain,
Yes.
Councilor Anderson,
Abstain.
Councilor Baker,
Yes.
or Councilor Quinlan,
Yes.
Councilor Scalisi,
Yes.
Councilor Sherman.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to 5B, source of quote for property casualty insurance. Joanne.
Every year at this time, we get the quote from CIRSA, and it has to be back by the 1st of October. We did receive this quote last week. So the quote was for both property casualty and workers' comp, and you have a copy of the memo in your packets. The property casualty actually increased $7,826, more than the premium for 2018. And that's part of that is our impact of experience gave us a credit of $12,148 for the 2019 quote. So that helped keep that down a little bit. The workers' compensation, the 2019 quote is $150,978, which is $3,706 increase over the current year, And this is actually significantly lower than last year's increase of $18,906. So the two together are roughly $11,000 that we are going to see in property casualty and worker comp increase. And if there's no other questions, at this time, staff is recommending and requesting council approve the proposed CRSA quotes for both property casualty and workers' comp.
Are there any questions, council? Okay, with no questions, thank you, Joanne. Do we have a motion to either approve or deny the quote for insurance as submitted?
I'd move that we approve the quote as submitted for insurance.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second, discussion. Andrea, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Counselor Scalisi,
Yes.
Counselor Sherman,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes. Moving on to finance, number 6.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve city expenditures from August 27th through September 10th of 2018, totaling $299,160.24.
Motion, we have a second.
A second that?
Have a second, discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Counselor Scalisi.
Yes.
Counselor Sherman,
Yes.
Mayor Bain,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 7, staff reports. Joanne.
I do have one item this evening, and that is that last week I received the assessed values from the Morgan County Assessor, and our assessed value from 2018 to 2019 has increased by $2,086,100, and that will generate an increase in our revenues for 2019 of $32,007.
Okay, thank you. Police, Corey.
Just briefly, I wanted to let council know that currently, I think some of you are aware that we have 2 officers in training. Just kind of an update for you. Both those officers are expected to be out of training by October 1st on their own. That's going to bring the patrol staff of the police department up to 100%. And they're doing exceptionally well at this time. So just kind of wanted to pass on the good. So.
Dude. All right, thank you. Public Works, Dale.
Thank you, Mayor. Only one thing to bring out tonight, and that is we're in the middle of our surface preservation projects for the 2018 year. As you may have already seen, we've done Lincoln as well as Turner Street with a fog seal. I think it looks really nice. It's a new product that we're using. Also on Saturday, we did a chip seal over on Clayton Street Quiet Zone on the north side, as well as Industrial Park Road and Cambridge Street from Emerson north to Mill. That was a section that we didn't know if we were going to put a storm sewer in, so we just never really did finish it. So we're finishing it up this year. And then tomorrow, on the 11th, we will also be putting a cape seal over the top of that chip, which is just a top coat of tar that'll help solidify it and bind it, and it really does a really good job of making it hold up well. And then tomorrow as well, we'll be doing a slurry seal on Edmond Street from Colorado to Edison, where it curves back around, except for the concrete portion. And we will also be doing a slurry seal on Mill Street from Cambridge west to the city limits. And so just be prepared that if you're going to be in those areas sometime tomorrow, you should expect some delays. But it'll be nice when it's finished.
Great.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Dale. City Clerk, Andrea.
Okay, for election news, I will be sending a copy of this resolution and the election calendar to Counselor Anderson and to the committee, and the various items for Fair Campaign Practice Act. So if anyone has questions, please come in as this progresses and we can get your questions answered. And then as far as events, we have on September 27th, the town of Hillrose is hosting a city-county meeting. So I'll need to know of council and staff who wants to attend that. And then the CML district meeting on October 4th, I'll need an RSVP on that too. That's it.
Okay, City Administrator, Monty.
Okay, a few items. The first one is fire department building. Everything is still on track as far as that building going up. Their plan still is by October is to have it total outside part of it totally complete. And then they should be throughout the month of October doing the finish work on the inside. So moving along, there's no surprises to this point, so it's good, because we're kind of getting a little bit later into the project, so nothing significant there to report. Also, the mayor did get a call or a discussion in regards to the brush agri park and the mowing that needed to take place out there. Weeds were getting kind of tall, so we did get a little bit behind on that, but Dell got a crew out there, and they mowed for a couple days, I think, but they really mowed all those weeds down out there at the Old English feedlot, and it's looking much better now. The other thing is the search for a police chief. That has closed now at this point in time. We have a pretty good number of applicants, and Loranda, our HR officer, is actually reviewing those for all the basic qualifications. And then there is a community panel of 7 individuals that will be part of the interview process. And then there will also be and this is on the 19th of September is what we have it slated for. There will also be staff interviews that same day. So that's being worked on, and they'll narrow down the list. And then once they have the list narrowed down to the final 2 or 3 candidates, I'll interview the finalist, and then a selection will be made. So I'll keep council apprised of that process as we move along. That's all I have.
Okay, council reports. Do you have any council reports?
Nobody
Yeah.
else? Anybody?
Go ahead.
I've put this off for a year, and I didn't ever talk about the posts because, for a couple reasons. I thought that there was a probability that ACLU would take the case early on, and they did I submitted it to the ACLU, and they did get back to me, but they did not end up taking the case as of yet, and we're up against some time limits, so I'm gonna go ahead and do what I need to do, and they can still come in. I don't ever really see the ACLU taking this case because it only benefits me. And they like to take cases that benefit large groups, immigrants, homeless people.
Let me stop for just a second. Are you talking about proposed legal action against the city? I don't think that's something that we should discuss on council. And on the advice of our attorney, I think he would agree that we should not talk about anything talking about legal action.
I'm gonna table the ACLU, so I wanted to let you know that that's been, that isn't gonna happen. And then I did want to respond to something that Marnie had in one of her motions. Do you not want me to speak about it? Oh.
That's something to respond to through a written pleading with the district court where the
Yep.
case is filed.
I did. She had suggested that some of this stuff should have been taken care of in open public meetings. And I tend to agree with her, but for various reasons, being silenced or for, waiting on timelines or whatever, it was never brought by me. Did anybody else want to? And in fact, I think what she was getting at was that I could still, if I chose to, bring up the posts in a meeting.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
I never talked about the posts. I never talked about them because I thought the ACLU might take the case. So I never talked about them.
Well, I don't think, this is a place to be doing that because you filed litigation
Right.
related to those posts.
Right.
And, that's in front of the district court judge now for determination there.
Right? And that's,
And the pleadings that are filed in the case, while they're public pleadings,
right?
I don't see that as something that should be or needs to be discussed at a council meeting.
I just wanted to remind everyone that I never spoke about the posts, ever. Not ever.
And when you say post, you're talking about Facebook posts?
Yep, those
Okay.
2 Facebook posts, and I never had taken the opportunity. We talked about them in work sessions, but I never did take the opportunity during council meetings to talk
Well,
about
I
any
don't
of
believe
the posts.
you were at the council meetings when they were discussed.
The 18th was, I think, when they were discussed, and I was not there.
You were not there.
Right.
Okay,
So-
anything else?
At this time. I did want to say that even though Dana and Dan are listed as parties, that's only procedural. I don't know if you've all gotten a copy of the current amended pleading, but you're only on there as a requirement that everybody who has a say or might want to hear any changes to the code of conduct or resolutions should be included. When I actually made the claims, I left you off. I left you two off of the claims. You could have been listed procedurally as a plaintiff. I just did it this way because it was cleaner. I can make as many amended pleadings as there needs to be, so if you'd like to be a plaintiff and joined, you can, but I've never heard from either of the two of you, so I just left it like this.
The
As it
entire
is.
council is being represented by
Marty.
outside counsel, yeah, that was retained by
That's
Sursa.
correct.
And she's the one that's communicating with everybody that are named as defendants in the case.
Right. So I didn't make copies. I sent one to the Sursa attorney. And so if you didn't get a copy, she has the most. There was an amended pleading entered on September the 4th. And that's where we are with Review 57. I did want to also say about some of the things I've been hearing that's going around. And I was going to limit this to 5 minutes. And I'm probably about at 5 minutes, so I'll leave it to another meeting. But I'm going to start doing some fact checks because now we are entering into the campaign again. And what we really have here is just essentially another campaign. So if I hear things that aren't correct, I'm going to take Marnie's, I'm going to take her up on her motion and we're going to talk about it here.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, do we have a motion? Well, let's see, first I'll say we have 3 work session items we'll be talking about. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Moved.
Okay, we are adjourned.
I'm going to go to the Elrose.
Melody.
You're on video.
No, we're not anymore. We need. I don't know that.
Well, let's talk with Don this morning, making sure that we're going to have everything ready to go for Oktoberfest. And so, as it relates to what, I know you submitted the application, but we're looking at more definitive timelines as to when you want barricades, where you want them, where do you want the light tower, when do you want it there, when do you want it moved.
Can you just get it tomorrow?
I can I would say let's do Thursday.
Okay.
And then the next opportunity will be Friday afternoon. But anyway, so Don is seeking for more specific information just to make sure that it was, okay? And it would just be. Yeah, we just need, it would just be for staff.
You ready?
Okay.
Okay, Monty.
Okay, very short work session tonight. Most of these are just keeping you in the loop on a few things. The very first one is engagement letter related to review of loitering and solicitation ordinances. And Bo's going to chime in on this, but essentially in your packet, there's a letter of engagement with a law firm. And this was brought to us from Sursa, our insurance company, and they just said that they would provide so many hours of coverage on this as far as reimbursing us for some of the cost associated with the review of our loitering ordinances. And so this is really just giving you guys a heads up. It's coming down the pipeline, and we anticipate getting a legal review of our ordinances, and then between Bo and city staff, we'll come back with a recommendation to council and discuss it and go over what we have and what we need to do next. And I'll turn over to Bo for any questions that you might have.
This all came about when the Colorado chapter of the ACLU sent out a letter to 31 municipalities across the state on August 28th, I think it was, telling them that in the ACLU's perspective, their anti-panhandling ordinances were unconstitutional and that they needed to be repealed. Brush has a similar ordinance. One part of our Rotary ordinance makes it a violation of that ordinance to loiter for the purpose of begging. There are quite a number of cases, one of them from the U.S. Supreme Court, that states that begging panhandling is a First Amendment issue. It's a matter of freedom of the speech. It's a form of freedom of the speech, and essentially you can't limit it without having a compelling reason to do so. The letter before us tonight is from Josh Marks, who is the attorney that Sursa hired. When Sursa saw this letter come out, it got together with Mr. Marks and agreed to provide 5 hours of legal counsel to each of the communities that received the letter that's a member of Sursa. And so we have 5 hours of Sursa-covered legal services. This was not because we filed a claim. It was Sursa's proactive movement to provide counsel to these municipalities because of the proposition that was presented to them by the ACLU. I told Mr. Marks that in discussions with Monty